postmenopausal. I'd be a lot easier to get along with. There isn't anything we can't have fun talking about. So
Okay.
I hate politics, though. I just want to warn you.
Sounds good.
Okay. That's just me. Some people really like talking about it. I hate politics.
I try and stay away from it, and people always suck me in whenever I do the show.
Oh, I hate it. It's like, okay, Facebook, OMG, welcome to Comic Spot, but that's not the important thing. Hot damn, we got some good shit for you today. Yes, we do. She said shit. Today, we have the delightful firefighter, military veteran, ex-DJ in Las Vegas, and now he co-hosts the Tickle Me Comedy Club podcast. Maybe he just hosted and had somebody else there from down on the block. I don't know. There was somebody else sitting there. Anyway, he is so hysterically funny. I have never had more fun on a podcast. That was the best. So today he's here, and his name is Roman Sturn. Hi.
Well, drum roll. Thank you. That's quite an introduction. Thank you. So what's going on? Good. Just trying to survive. We got 4 kids in the house, and homeschooling, and Thanksgiving's getting expensive.
Yes. Food prices are on the rise, and
saw that.
How are you gonna do turkey? Like a Turkey Day? Are you having any relatives or friends over?
Yeah, we are. Mm-hmm. Don't tell Governor Sisolak that, but yeah, we are. We're except we're not doing turkey this year. We're doing little hens.
Oh, cool.
Never done it before, but they shut everything down, so we're trying to change everything. I just got my new haircut, COVID haircut.
I love it.
Well, we don't know. I think they were shutting everything down again today, right?
Yes. Now the restaurants are at 25%. So I went to Denny's and they said, do you have a reservation? You have to have a reservation to get really crappy food.
Yeah, no kidding. They should give you a 25% discount then.
Thank you. What is crazy? It's just giving us more comedy material every day.
I know. Seriously. I was listening to one of your podcasts a little while ago, and you had this guy come on and just do a bunch of COVID jokes. And they were fire. I mean, they're gives us material, but we can't go anywhere to practice it. So
that's right. You practice it on Zoom, and it's like you might as well just practice to a plaster in the wall.
Yeah, I got the guys at the firehouse that I kind of bounce back off of, and a lot of the jokes are about them. Kind of sailor crew, dark humor. But just try and make light of our situation. Bunch of guys living with each other.
When I was in Philly, Roman, I went walking and I walked past a fire station downtown, and I went in and asked permission to do comedy. It was the best audience I've ever had. Yeah.
It's the best.
It's the best.
Did you go down the pole?
No, I stay away from those. It's Vegas. You got to stay away from the poles.
Speaking of my mother, she's going to come visit Thanksgiving as well.
Where does she live, Roman?
I know. I was trying to transvert. What do you call it?
Transition.
Transition from the pole to whatever. She actually lives in Arizona. We just went out there last week and got in a fight with a coon rattlesnake. You ever seen those things?
Never.
Diamondback. Wow. We put 2 shots into it. 22. Still was attacking.
What?
Had to cut off the head. Was still moving, and for like 30 minutes after. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Oh my gosh!
Craziest.
Do you know how many young millennials would hate you right now?
We had to get in our house. It got defensive. It was just blocking our. You got to do what you got to do.
Thank you. Some people just don't get it.
Yeah, and after we cut the head off, it was still chomping down. So
what?
I talked to my dad's neighbor out in Arizona, and I said you have to bury the head. But this thing was It was aggressive. It's pretty
Wow.
wild.
Wow.
You know, those
So,
snakes.
so I want to talk about your life from birth till now. As
Okay.
all the funny stuff and what got you to here. But I gotta say, we have to stop. We have to pause and
Okay.
thank you for your service to our country.
Oh, thank you. You too.
Yep, thank you. Thank you. You know how many men don't say that back to me? If I had a
Really?
nickel for every male with too much testosterone, I would be rich.
Oh yeah. When you
Yes.
were, I mean, you even more hats off to you because you were back when it was like, you know, real, real tough. I think now in boot camp they have timeout cards. Can you believe that? Can you? I swear to God, they have a timeout card where they get a 15-minute break.
Wow.
Isn't that wild?
My gosh. You can smoke 2 cigarettes in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
That's
I
a
was like,
long
there's
time.
no way you could have a drill instructor yell at you. He's like, okay, timeout. Here we go. It's like, there's just no way. But
Oh my gosh. That'd be a funny bit for you to talk about boot camp nowadays, you know, and all the
oh,
crazy things that would happen because of being too
it,
soft in the military.
and you know, there's no timeout cards when you're getting shot at over out in the Middle East, right? There's no, okay,
No.
everybody hold on, put your guns down. I'm not feeling well. Like, there's none of that. That's insanity. So I don't know, but the world, and I know like every generation thinks that the next generation is wimpier. And as I get older, I definitely see that. I mean, we're raising bubble kids now, you know.
Yes. Yes.
But I mean, I wasn't in the tough. I was in Air Force, you know. The Marines or Army didn't have to take care of anything. We would come in, we'd put our Xbox controllers down, our video games down, and we would go and help drop bombs. That was it.
What's your favorite memory and your craziest memory in the military?
Oh man. Well, I'm married now, so I can't talk about my craziness. Um, so I lived in Honduras, Soto Cano Air Base, and then I lived in Germany. The first time I saw a 10-story whorehouse in Germany blew my mind. And I was only like 20 at that time. And I was like, wait, you could, like, I couldn't comprehend it coming from the United States. Like, not only could you drink at such a young age over there, you could drink, you know, people, I thought teenagers drink beer, nobody got in trouble. But
Yes.
when I saw the red light district in Amsterdam, or there's a 10-story whorehouse in, what was it? I think it's Frankfurt. I was just so overwhelmed. Like, and I saw like death, I saw accidents, and we responded to some crazy stuff. I was a firefighter in the military as well.
Wow.
Wildland fires, but it was all the learning about the different cultures in the military that really blew my mind. That I was just, I think one of the things I talk about to this day is I went overseas and my buddies went off to college, and I went to like a private high school, so a lot of my buddies had money. And I remember coming back, and after being in the military for 2 or 3 years and seeing my buddies in college, and we were just so disconnected because my buddies were in fraternities, and you know, and then I was traveling the world, so there was a big disconnect on how to even converse. And that was only 3 or 4 years.
Wow.
But we had a we would go off base, and we would play soccer with the local kids in Honduras. Some of these families didn't even have doors on their homes.
What?
And they seemed happy. And we would play soccer, and they would come in and offer me what little bit they had. And then I would go back to the United States and talk to my buddies in their 20s, and they're on antidepressants, you know, and I'm like, what is happening? Like, what is going on to where these people are more happy than a lot of my rich friends, you know, and they have nothing. They don't even have a door to the house. And my rich buddies back, you know, going to college or getting in the workforce, taking all these crazy pills. I'm like, this doesn't seem right. you
Isn't that
know?
interesting? So interesting. That's a whole study for you.
Absolutely. And you know, like if I never would have seen that, it's like you don't know what you don't know, right? Like you just don't. I would have never joined the military. I think everybody should join the military,
Me
or
too.
at least maybe men. You know, maybe I know in Korea, because I mean, you know, military can be hard on women. You know, and I got a daughter, and you know, you're a tough cookie. You are. I mean, you're a little razzle dazzle, pretty thing, but you're a tough cookie for going through that and that. When were you in?
73 to
73.
76.
That's right.
Yeah,
And you were in Germany.
I was.
That's right. Yeah.
And my parents survived the Holocaust, and the army decided to send my happy ass back to Deutschland.
Jesus. They could have put you in as a spy, you know?
I'm only half Jewish, and they let me be a cashier. And I wonder if I was full-blooded, Jewish, would they have put me at Fort Leonard? Where's that? Fort Leavenworth with all the money?
Leavenworth. Yeah, no shit. No, Fort Knox. Fort Knox.
Fort Knox. That's Fort Knox.
Fort Leavenworth is where I almost ended up a couple times.
Really?
But we did actually, me and my buddy Vic, we actually got in a fight with like real Nazis when we were over in Germany.
Really?
Like, yeah, suspender wearing boots. Yeah, it was hilarious. It was like a firefighters versus Nazi bar fight. It was a blast.
Wow.
I mean, they were. I mean, all of this and everything, and you know, a bunch of firefighters that like working out and drinking. It's just not a good mix.
No.
But I mean, that was like I lived there for 2 years. So it was the only like real Nazis we met. We all ended up going to jail and everything, but it was still a blast. It was fun.
So you had to go to jail?
Yeah, I went to jail with my buddy. We were laughing. You know, we were drunk and we were laughing. We're like, oh yeah, we really licked those guys. And you get an ass chewing when you get back on base. But one of my officers that were above me, he goes, okay, did you guys win the fight? And we're like, yeah. He goes, all right, get out of here.
Wonderful. Oh my gosh. You actually kicked some Nazi ass.
Yeah. One of the guys pulled out a mouthpiece and just put it. I mean, he was ready, but it was fun. I mean, it's, you know, yeah, I don't know. You being in the military, you know, around, it's a really testosterone driven environment.
Yes.
Especially in the fire department when you're young and you're not around family and you're overseas and you're able to drink. It's just, it's wild. You know,
so true.
Experiences. You know, you grow up fast too. You know, I know people that are, you know, 35, 40 still on their parents' cell phone plan. Right.
Totally.
And my dad told me at 17, or after I dropped out of college, I played soccer and dropped out of college. He said, you can go live on a park bench for all I give a shit, you know, but you're yeah. And I was like, all right, I got to think of something. So, but it makes you grow up. Like you got to start paying your own bills at 18 and your food, and, you know, nobody's taking care of you except you. So, but it teaches you a lot. You know, you learn more about yourself when you're in those stressed out environments. You know, you just become like a rubber band, you know, and the more they pull and pull and pull it, I think it does better. I think when people are coddled too much, I think that's where a lot of depression sets in.
Wow.
Because they're when the real world actually hits them, it's like all at once or a ton of bricks. They don't know how to manage, you know, certain situations.
Now you're preaching at the choir, because I spoiled my daughter until 2013 when she was like 36 or 37, because I hate math. I love my daughter. I hate math.
But you're Jewish. What the hell?
Yes. I only like math when it's coming at me.
Yeah.
Give me. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Let's go back to your childhood. When were you first funny?
Sacramento. I grew up in Sac, and I just, you know, I don't know, just love playing jokes. I mean, I used to be more of a bully, honestly, than I was funny. And not bully in a sense that I beat people up, but I used my humor, which I still kind of do, but more of in a light way. you know, I just to kind of be liked.
Yes.
You know, if you're the quickest wittest or have the sharpest tongue, you know, people tend to kind of go towards your side a little more. You know, not saying I didn't get punched in the face a couple times for it, but like people still would kind of go to you like, oh yeah, I can't get into a, you know, joking battle with him. He'll kill me. So I don't know. I think it just developed over time, and I went to a Catholic school, so you know, there's a bunch of humor and jokes you could do there. I did a lot of stupid stuff. I remember we had this guy named Brother Dat, and I took a laser pointer, and we were all praying at the beginning of class, and Jesus was up on the wall on the cross, and I put a laser pointer on Jesus' head. I know, stupid. I'm embarrassed now. It's stupid.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, Jesus. And I remember the brother doesn't even turn around, and he just doesn't even turn around. He goes, Roman, get out of my class. So he knew it was me. Didn't even, you know, so I mean, I just did stupid shit like that. I was dumb, stupid kid, but we got arrested for Grand Theft Auto. We were joyriding in a car. You know, we just took a car out, went joyriding, and got arrested for that when we were young. But, you know, like stupid. Like, my kids aren't like that at all.
At what point are you going to tell them the things you've done in your life? What age?
35, 40.
Can they find it on the internet anywhere?
No, I always like lawyered up. We always got lawyers. I know the Grand Theft Auto charges got dropped just because my buddy's dad was a cop. Yeah, just stupid. You know, you have to be young and dumb to be old and wise.
That's right. That's
you know,
so you gotta. How many children do you have?
So we got 4 in the house. One's kind of like a foster, but it's madness. The homeschooling. First of all, I don't know what the hell Common Core is, and then I don't know what the hell, like, even history books have changed now. I don't know if you know that. How crazy is that? Like, you study history when you're going to school, and now the new history books are changing. But you know what's wild is they were teaching my daughter how to protest, like PowerPoint stuff. Isn't that wild? She's 13. Isn't that wild?
Oh, that's crazy.
People are getting killed and shot out there. And I took a picture of it I showed my buddies in the fire department. I'm like, because they didn't want us watching the kids in class originally. They're like, yeah, don't watch your kids in class, it's a distraction. So I go over homework, and, you know, it's saying, oh, it was like how to use this vocabulary word and what you should protest for. And then it's bizarre. It's really, really bizarre. You know, but it's different. Even some of the history books have changed to what I've learned. And who knows though, you know? What's the Mark Twain quote? He's like, don't let school get in the way of education, or something like that. And it's so true. Yeah, it's so true. You just, yeah. I mean, look how much. Go ahead.
You go ahead. I interrupted your thought.
No, I was saying, look how much comedy's changed and what you can or can't say, or cancel culture. You know, it's just bizarre.
Bizarre.
But whatever.
So what ages are your 4.7324 children?
2, 4, 13, and 17.
Got it.
Yes. So teenagers are so fucking cool. They're so awesome.
Do you have slamming doors and I hate yous coming at you?
No, they know I don't play that. You know, military drag comes out, and they're like, okay. No, they're really, I mean, putting them in comparison with me, shit. Like they're angels, you know, but I'm still, you know, girls, you just got to be a little bit more delicate, and I don't know, you know, there's a lot of damage that can come from the male role model in the house, unless you tread lightly. You know, it's little things that can devastate their little world. I didn't care about girls as much as they do about boys in high school. You know, if my guy friends, if they were busy doing something else, then I would call my girlfriend. Whereas I think girls, they're more, they need, not all of them. I don't want to speak in general terms, but what I've seen is they're just more dependent on what that guy thinks of them. When, like, you know, a lot of the guys I knew was either cheating on their girlfriends in high school or just were like, all right, like, you know. But I don't know. I was also a jock back then, so who knows, you know.
So that means you were in sports?
Yeah, we played soccer, swimming. I played soccer in college, which was a blast, but I didn't get a lot of playing time, so all I was doing was traveling all over.
What
And
college were you with?
we were at American River in Sacramento.
Got it. What
It's a
position on the soccer
D3.
field? What position on soccer field did you play?
Well, in college, I didn't even play on the field every time there was a game, but I played defense whenever we practiced. College it's a different level. But I knew a lot of, you know what's wild is there were even people when I was in college doing steroids on the soccer team. Because there's different type of steroids, yeah. So some will make you bulky big, and I mean it's so competitive at that, even at, you know, Division III, that everybody's trying to get ahead, and pretty wild, but fun. You know, college was fun.
My dad played soccer in Germany up until when Hitler said Jewish people can't, you know, get ahead. So,
No way.
yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. And he would be, when he was in his 80s, he'd be out in parking lots playing that, what is that, squish ball, that little ball that you kick with your feet?
Oh, hacky sack.
Yeah, he'd play hacky sack with the teenagers.
I don't see that anymore.
No.
Even in college, people always had hacky sack. I don't even know if people play that anymore.
I haven't seen
it in forever. Yeah. Even at the beaches, you know, in California, go to the beach and you see some people playing with the hacky sack. That's a good point. That's funny. I mean, they need to bring hacky sack back, and for men, Fanny Packs. I'm a huge fan of Fanny Packs.
Are you?
I mean, utility-wise, they're the best. I mean, you got everything right there.
I love them. My sister just gave me a really nice leather one, and I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, they're the best.
Yeah.
It sucks that because it started turning into, oh, that's a dad thing, you know. And but I'm a dad, so I don't care. I got my dad bod going.
I watched your comedy when you were performing at Tickle Me Club. Very funny material.
Oh yeah, thank you.
So
thank you.
At home, do you tell dad jokes to your children?
I do, and they're starting to, you know, they just roll their eyes or they put their head down. I like doing it in front of their friends. You know, the best part about being a dad is embarrassing them. You know, my daughter, I was like, hey, if you twerk like that again, I'm gonna embarrass the shit out of you. So if her friends come, I'll come down and, like, you know, Speedo and start twerking. She's like, okay, Dad, I won't twerk anymore, Dad. You know, it's like, all right, like, you think, you know. So my biggest tactic is embarrass. I will embarrass you if you don't do your chores or you don't fall in line.
Yes.
I got my butt beat with the belt, and I needed it. But, like, with different kids, you have to have different techniques.
That's true.
Some kids don't get embarrassed. Some kids, their whole world is you embarrassing them, you know.
Yes, you're smart. You're a good dad because you see that you have to treat each one according to that child.
Yeah. There's no blueprint, you know. They're all crazy and in their weird ways. And
they're all going to come out messed up in one way or another, no matter what we do.
Exactly. I just, the 2-year-old, he's like Animal from the Muppets. I just want him to live, you know. If you turn away, he'll put a fork in a socket, or he loves he's just finding out about his male organs. So that thing's dragged all over the wall, and teacup sets, and yeah, he's a monster, but he's fun.
So you go to high school, you're in college, and then all of a sudden you're either DJ, fireman, comedian. Take me through the trajectory from high school, college, being a jock to where you are now. What happened in there?
So I wasn't playing any soccer time. I wasn't playing any time in college. So I was like, oh, forget it. I'm going to drop out. And like I said, my dad was like, look, you can go live on a park bench for all I care, which sounds brutal at the time. But then I think it was the best thing for me because it wasn't, I'm going to coddle you and I'll pay for everything. He kicked me out into the real world, and he still helped me. Like when I got stationed in Nebraska, and it was a nightmare. Then I went to Honduras, and this is where I went to the fire. I was in the fire department, or they trained me to be a firefighter in the military, which is a sweet gig. If anybody joins the military, it's probably the best job there is. And went to Honduras, and then went to Germany. Got out of the military. I thought I came down to Vegas because I thought I got hired as a firefighter out here, but they're like, oh no, this is an interview. So I had no money, and I was living in a motel. And I was like, oh no, like I'm gonna have to start living in my car here shortly. If like I thought I had the job and they just flew me out for an interview. So now I work as a lieutenant in the fire department on the Nevada test site, or Nevada test and training range, which is like an extension of Nellis. It's out in the middle of the desert. Just a good gig. It's a blast.
Wow. So in where Nellis Air Force Base is, what direction are you from Nellis?
North.
North. And where is Area 51?
I can't tell you that.
Nobody knows.
I don't know.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, I've never heard of it. All right, I've never heard of it.
What's it like being close to the air base?
I mean, it's the cool things are, having the jets take off, right? The sound of freedom, No, on a serious note, it's pretty cool watching the jets take off and do their maneuvers and the rumble in the sky. I like that. There's pluses and minuses to every job, how you make it. The cool thing about the fire department, it's a fraternity, and it's like a sleepover with a bunch of guys that talk a lot of shit to each other, whether it's working out or, we're actually, I think we're getting a woman in our fire department here shortly, and everybody's like, oh no, okay, like we got to be on our P's and Q's, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't, we absolutely should, but the whole culture is going to change, which it probably should change, but it's hard to live somewhere and then have to be just conscious of what you're saying 24/7, especially when you're sleeping there,
I think that you guys should have, when is she coming?
Probably 6 months.
Okay, so I think that you should do a test run with me there.
Oh. Well, the good thing, no, I can't do that because you're a comedian. You let stuff roll off you. Like I think HR is going to be involved a lot in my life in the next couple of years, And I'm not saying it's not the woman. That's the thing is, it's not the woman that's coming. It's the firefighters, right? She's not the problem. We're the problem because we're always just the smallest shit talking stuff that we do. Like working out. Calling each other wussies if they can't. And when I mean wussy, it's not wussy. It's the other one. If they can't lift certain weight.
I think you need a baby boomer as a firefighter woman.
Oh, there we go.
Because I want to hear that stuff.
Yeah, I know. But that's how it is out there now. It's bizarre. And we've talked to other comedians about the censorship and the comedy world out there for everybody. It's just a nightmare. Why even go to comedy shows if you're going to be so critical?
Thank you. It's crazy. What a crazy world. I thought it was bad when I was doing comedy in Portland, Oregon, but that's just a microcosm of the whole scene now. It's spread.
Yeah, it's spread. I mean, hopefully we all come back from this, but I think the next generation is going to be all virtual. Everybody's just going to be sitting at a computer, not even going to comedy clubs, just watching them on TV. I mean, the amount of video games that these kids play, and they've already linked it to depression, and you're not going to have any social, but they would rather stay home instead of go out.
Yes.
Which I guess there's some positives, but you have to, like, I make my kids, I make her go out, like, up 1 hour. I don't care if you go stand out at the corner in front of our house or sit on the grass, but you got to get outside.
Yes.
And it's like, for me, my parents were like, oh my gosh, you're home late again. And I would be out all day riding my bike, or we'd have bike gangs. We put the card in the wheel and have a bunch of bike gangs, and just cruise around. And yeah, they would much rather stay at home and watch other people live their lives, or watch some avatar that they're controlling, live there. I'm like, dude, it's a slippery slope, but
is.
it might be too messed up. Like we were talking about the last time, I wouldn't know how to hit on a girl now at a bar.
Totally.
Right? Like,
I don't know how to get a compliment anymore. Nobody can open a door for me.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
I had to go out and get blonde hair and brand new teeth. They come out.
Teeth look good.
They come out at night, and
even better.
And I worked my ass off to get a tight ass, and I had to wear prom gowns and hooker heels all over Vegas to get anyone to look at me, let alone open a door. That's crazy.
Yeah, I've actually I had this girl. She actually held the door open for me, and I looked at her. I was like, oh, thank God, chivalry isn't dead. And she like looked at me like, what are you, crazy? This isn't, this isn't chivalry. But it's, I would, like, going back, obviously catcalling. I mean, I think we touched on this. Catcalling's not good, but like, I don't know. I don't know what's acceptable anymore in the dating world for hitting on women,
I know. I'm telling you. Like, I'm a baby boomer. Where do you think somebody my age got their self-esteem from? Themselves? I got it from men.
Yeah.
You guys told me.
Guys. Yeah.
Huh?
The construction guys.
Yes.
But that's not, I'm glad we're kind of moving away from that. But, like, what else? I don't know. Hey, I don't know. Yeah. I guess you just, who knows?
What made you go into comedy, and how did it go your very first time?
I did a 5-minute set. Oh, so going back, we were, I had to take a test to become a lieutenant. So I needed practice because the oral board, there's an oral board, and they all have people that are high rank, middle managers, captains, and stuff like that. They're the one that promotes you. So I thought, how can I practice speaking in front of people? So I took Phil Pareto's class to force myself to get up on stage and talk to people. And it helped me I ended up getting promoted that year. So it helped me be able to just stand there and have an audience and conversate. And then, people were like, dude, that's really funny. I'm a better writer than I am comedian. My stage presence, just, I'm not there yet. And I'm not the guy that hit the circuit every week, every night, every week. I probably do it once or twice every 2 weeks,
Sure.
But that's also because my schedule, and I like to go party. So it wasn't a priority until I was like, oh shit, like, this is turning out to be a cool thing. But yeah, it was basically preparing for a lieutenant test for the fire department to force me into stand-up, and then I loved it. And it's addicting.
How long ago did you get on stage? 5
years now.
Wow. What are some things that you brag about that you've been able to do in comedy?
We played at Treasure Island.
No way.
Played at Circus Circus.
What?
Yeah. I mean, my sets were like 10, 15, I wasn't headlining or anything, but it was the crowd, maybe 60, 70 people.
What? That's great. That's fabulous.
Yeah.
So who have you shared the stage with, Roman?
I mean, no, I've been up there with Diaz Mackey. He was on the show the other on Tickle Me podcast the other night. I did a show with Don Barnhart after I did his class. We did a show over there with him, and I think he's playing downtown. Some of the guys on his that play at do you know the club they're playing at right now?
He has two clubs. He has Delirious at the Grand Hotel downtown off Fremont Street, and then he has Jokesters at the Alexis Park.
Okay, yeah, the downtown ones. So some of his crew that I actually took a class with Don too, who kind of helped me kind of fine tune my skills, and it's just a blast. Even if you're not into comedy, just do it just to have fun with it. You'll be surprised how creative your mind thinks, like the creativity that you see yourself. I was never into the arts. Like I was, like playing sports, and that was it. We made fun of the kids in film, and but now I regret it. Like I wish I would have forced myself to expand my horizon, because it's a blast, and you definitely meet some odd creatures out there. And a lot of the artists that you meet, like the struggle, not only the struggle of going through comedy stuff, but the pain that they bring along with it, that you're like, how are you laughing? Like, there's no way that everything that you've gone through and you're still laughing it up. Speaking of that, your interview with Sinbad, he just had a stroke. Did you hear about that? Man, that's too bad.
I'm smiling because I love him, and I'm trying to stay positive.
Yeah, he's great.
That was like 9 days ago, Roman, and we haven't had any update in 9 days.
That's too bad. Yeah, that's great. Your interview with him was phenomenal.
Thank you.
He was a military brat, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I got promised after months of being on him, because he and I talked on Twitter and MySpace way back when those first started. So I asked him if he remembered me, and he said yes. And I said, well, I'm doing a podcast. Will you come on? He goes, let's make it happen. Like months went by, and I kept having to go now.
Yeah, right.
And finally he said, here's my assistant's email. And I had started asking him for 15 to 20. And I got all in over the months. I said, okay, 2 minutes, final answer. And that's when he gave me the email to his So I expected 2 minutes, and he came on and went 41 minutes and 54 seconds.
I saw that. Yeah, that's great.
It's the best interview ever that I'll, no, don't even try to be Sinbad.
Yeah. Well, you have a good mix of interviewing, and then, I'm completely opposite. Whenever I do my Tickle Me podcast, and I learned a lot from you, especially the patient, because I like to talk a lot. You're very patient, and okay, let the person talk. I'm more of like a control freak psycho that wants to dominate every conversation and beat my chest like a.
You're a Tim Allen.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I loved coming on your show, and I can't thank you enough, you and Philip Pareto, for putting me on there. And you put me on there with like a movie star.
Yeah. That was awesome. Yeah.
I held my own with Greg, didn't I?
You did. Have you got him on your show yet?
Yes, he came on before, like a few days before. And I put out there that I was going on your podcast, and he texted me, I'll be there. And I'm thinking, why is Greg coming to watch me on a podcast?
Yeah. No, that's the cool thing about podcasts, is you meet all different walks of one second. You meet all different walks of life and everybody's story. And it's the biggest learning experience, because you're, get everybody's insight for people you'd never really talk to.
I know. You get to meet so many people, and Greg Vecchiarello, now when I go to one of Don Barnhart's shows and he's there, You know, he feels like he knows me because we were on your podcast. Otherwise, it might have taken years to
Yeah.
become his buddy. He gave me a ride home from a Don Barnhart show,
So,
so I didn't have to take a lift.
oh, that's sweet. Yeah, that's cool. He's a funny guy too. He's definitely a funny guy. Did you watch any of his? I watched his like little movie reel. There's a movie reel he's got on YouTube. All the movies he's been in.
I have to go check that out. I'm a fan of his now because he's such a great guy.
Yeah, yeah. He's funny. He's definitely like a guy's guy too, which I kind of like. You know what I'm saying? He's not that soft. I don't know. Not saying that those guys are bad. I'm just saying I like guys, and he seems like that.
He's a guy's guy, and he's a comics comic. And those
exactly.
are all comic. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like him a lot.
We'll see this new generation of comedians coming out. You know, who knows? Like, what are they gonna joke about? You know?
What
how
a rough
soft
life.
each of them could be. Yeah.
I love it when they're 18 saying that they're getting older.
Oh, I know.
Please.
My 17-year-old was like, man, when I was her age, I was like, what are you talking about? That was like 2 weeks ago. When you were her age.
It's a crazy world.
They're so green behind the ears. It's they have no idea like what life's about, but they have it figured out in their head. It doesn't matter what anybody says. I'm gonna do it my way, and I'm like, all right. My wife's like, just let them fall on their face, you know.
True.
And I'm like, yeah.
True.
It's harder with girls though, you know. My son, you know, it'll be a little different, you know. He'll definitely have more privileges than the girls will, which, you know, I guess you could be mad at that, but I don't. It's just different, you know. Women, I don't. You know what I'm saying? It's just.
I get it. I'm a baby boomer. No problem. Where have the real men gone?
Oh, no. Yeah, where's the Clint Eastwoods? Where'd those guys go?
Yes, I have to get off the phone in about 6 minutes. So, or whatever you call this. So here's what I want to throw out to you. We've talked about most of the trajectory. We didn't exactly talk about how it went your first time on stage and some crazy things that have happened when you've been on stage, and anything you want to say in the next 5 minutes to people watching.
So I had somebody, it was a comedy club near UNLV, and I practiced this joke. And it goes, first of all, I said the joke on the East Side in an all-black comedy club. And it goes something like this. It's, man, I hate watching cops with my black friend. I never know who to root for. I'd be like, get him, get him, get him. I mean, run, fool, run. So I did a joke like that on the East Side. And that, you know, one of my best friends is a black dude, firefighter, and that actually happened. Like, we were watching cops at the fire station together, and we were like on different sides. Like, oh, you must see cops a completely different way than I see cops, you know. I'm rooting for him to catch him, and he's like, hey, get away, right? So I did it on the East Side, all black club. Can't remember what it's called. And I was getting high fives, and people were loving it, and like, dude, that's a great joke, you know. I did it across the street from UNLV, and there was like a crowd of 10, and these white kids, and I think there was like one Latin kid. They were just like, how dare you? Who do you think you are? And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, that's the most racist shit. I was like, I'm married. My wife's an immigrant from Peru. All right. Like, don't throw out the racist card on me. And nobody was black. They were all like white little liberal, you know, like just, and I was like, dude, that is bizarre. First time on stage, I did pretty good, but I've bombed. And like the first time you ever bomb, it's just to get your head back on track. It's bad. Yes. But hecklers are the worst. You know, I don't have the stage presence as of yet to like really. I think I got to create a list of just like, all right, here's if I have a fat heckler. Here's if I have a, you know, whatever, a steroided out guy that's heckling me. I just have to have a list, memorize that list, and go in like a loaded weapon when I'm dealing with the heckler. But yeah, it's what makes you feel better. Go ahead.
Or you know what is the funniest, and I know that you might not believe me, but trust me when I say this, the best, funniest stuff you can respond to a heckler. And I heard this from Jerry Corley. I went on stage my first month in comedy and I got a heckler and I called him up on the phone and I said, "You didn't prepare me for a heckler."
Heckler, yeah.
He said, "What did she say?" And I said, "She said, when is the comedy going to start?"
Oh shit.
And it was my first month in comedy. And
Yeah.
he said, in that moment, just remember this, because you can trust yourself to have a response. You don't have to memorize. It'll come out memorized. So in that moment, what were you thinking? So the minute somebody heckles you, get connected to exactly what you're thinking in that
Yeah.
moment. And don't think, just respond. And
Just
it'll be funny.
yeah.
And you know what I told her, thanks a lot. And so he said, "Well, that's funny, but what were you really thinking?" I was thinking, well, she was drunk. And I said, "I was expecting drunk heckler woman, but I wasn't expecting drunk heckler bitch woman."
Yeah. No shit. That's a good, see, that's perfect. That's a good comeback.
Thank you. So anyway, back to you. I know you want to memorize and write down, and maybe you're built that way, but I bet you with your friends, when they step over a line, you have a quick response.
Well, so like, especially like my comedy, like it's definitely it's kind of like Patrice Neon a little bit, Anthony Jeselnik a little bit. It's like I do one joke that I say, it's great now that I'm married, my wife wants to stick, she said, "Hey Roman, we need to stick with each other through thick and thin." And I was like, "Well, that's cool, but I can't wait for the thin part." and and like right?
Bring it on.
Depending on the crowd, you'll get gasps, right? Like, like, are you kidding me? He's gonna talk about his wife like that? And she loves it, right? She's a lot of Latin people actually are more thick-skinned because they have nicknames for each other, like Flaco or Skinny, like Gordo, like that's their nickname for their family, which is so crazy. Like if I walked around and called my nephew Fatty all the time, like it'd give him a complex, right?
Yes,
but that's
yes.
normal. Like Gato, they'll name they all have nicknames, and so anyway, she's okay with the jokes, and she'll actually help me write some of the jokes about her with her, which is cool. But a lot of people don't see that,
Yes.
The coolest place we ever did a comedy show was on a 3-story house that overlooked the ocean out in Ocean Beach, and it was like a private comedy show, and it was amazing. It's one of the best times. I think private comedy shows should start gaining traction again, like especially in the winter, where people could just pay $1,000 to bring comedians to their house and have it videotaped. It's cool.
Yes, those are cool. Do you know who Joe Moffat is here in Vegas? He's a person of color. They used to say black, but I don't see color, and so
I'm literally colorblind, legally.
I'm Mrs. Magoo. What?
Yeah.
And so he had me on a show, and it was a private show, and he told me it was going to be pimps and hoes, and that it's an urban audience. And I got there, it was all white people, and I thought, well, did you mean Keith Urban? What's going on? Where in the hell?
Yeah, that's Keith Urban.
It was all white people acting like they were people of color. It was It was the funnest. They were ready to party.
Yeah. Well, white people can be pimps too, but typically they're corporate pimps.
Yes, good one, good one. Man, they rolled in the birthday cake right while I was doing my set, so I got to leave early.
Oh, perfect.
So whatever.
Are you doing any stand-up now, or?
Oh yeah, I'm on a lot of Zooms, and so, But like right now, I'm focusing on perfecting a lot of my comedy for certain things I have in the works.
Hmm.
So there's some things happening for me, and I have a certain faction of my comedy that has to be utilized for something specific that isn't open to the public yet. So I'm not doing that many shows, but I'm getting ready for some stuff to hit the screen. So
See, that's awesome.
yeah.
That's huge. I'm trying. I have a bunch of material ready for sketch comedy. Right? Like I'm trying to find people out there that are into sketch comedy because I've never done it, but I definitely have some stuff drawn up. We got one of them's like those DNA commercials where they all find out, oh, I'm 50% Mexican, or I want to
Yes.
like green screen myself into that commercial. Be like, oh, I found out that I owe $48,000 in back payment for child support. Because I don't know if you know, like people are finding out that their parents aren't their actual parents, or they're just finding crazy, bizarre stuff.
Yes.
No.
I'm like I'm related to Hitler, and then
Yeah,
that would be
my life's ruined because of DNA ancestor.
yes.
So there's a couple sketch comedies that I'd like to start writing, and
Yeah. Do you know Adam Dominguez?
no.
You should get with him. He
Okay.
helps people. He'll just sit with you, and he has a brain that doesn't stop. And he puts. You should see his TikTok, or I don't know. He's always on there. If you look at Adam Dominguez on Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
he does things, and his stuff is over the top,
Great.
over the hill. So funny. I'm over the hill. It's
Yeah.
whatever it is, it's something amazing. Whatever he puts out there.
Yeah, I'll look him up. Is he local Vegas or LA?
Yeah, he's a working road comic around the country, headliner, but he's in Vegas a lot, and he works down on Fremont Street, kind of heckling people walking by from a booth over
That's
by.
awesome.
Yeah, you should get to
Adam
know him.
Adam Dominguez. Okay.
Yeah, tell him I told you about him and that you want a little bit of help with ideas on sketch comedy. He's an idea person.
Dude, I would love to join it. I love heckling. First of all, I love people watching. And sometimes my wife and I will have a couple beers and sit on the strip, and then we'll talk for the people. Like if people are fighting or walking by, we'll talk. I'm like, all right, I'm the guy, you're the girl, and we'll have a conversation. Yeah, it's a blast.
I gotta go interview Adam Mueller from New York, and
Okay.
he's a comic. And he was in the World Series of Comedy, and he killed it, and it didn't get passed.
Oh,
Yeah. So
bummer.
anyway, I'm gonna go, and you are a delight.
Thank you.
Thank you
Yeah, you're the
so
best.
much. Thank you so much for coming on.
Right on. Take care.
Love you. The guys, as we are leaving now, this has been Roman Sturn. You got to go to the Tickle Me podcast. You got to support the Tickle Me Comedy Club. And he's a fireman. When he tells jokes, though, you're his first responder. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Killing it. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Ciao.
Love you.